Hey guys, today I'm going to give you, well, I don't want to call it a review. This is more of a demonstration and just really based on my personal experience over the past 9 months of using this little looper pedal right here. This is the Ditto Looper by TC Electronics. Ditto. It's like that cool Patrick Swayze movie, Ghost. I love you. Ditto. Now again, this is not really a full-blown review. I just want to be transparent. I'm just going to show you how I have used this pedal. I've had this for really 9 months exactly to this date almost. And of course, I've been using it for my live solo gigs the whole time. And it's come in quite handy, but hang around till the end of the video because one, I'm gonna share some more demonstrations, some live demonstrations of using this pedal so you can hear the different ways that I have used this pedal, and I still do. I'm also gonna share with you why I'm actually going to get rid of this pedal and what I plan to get in its place. So let's go over some of the features of the Ditto Looper pedal here. For one, it is simple, which you guys know I love simple. I'm like Leonard Skinner, I'm a simple man. I love simplicity, okay? I'll share what I don't like about it though, and we'll get to that point here soon. But anyway, it's very simple. It's one button, it's one knob. You can just change the volume of the actual loop here. I would say I keep mine a little over 50% there for my loops. That's just kind of what works for me. And again, you've got one button, so very simple. It's not complex at all. And of course, you've got your input here on one side. This is where your power adapter would go. And you've got an input here for USB as well. And I believe that's how you would get any updates, any firmware updates. I honestly have not used this, so I don't know. I should probably plug that into my computer and see what comes up. Again, this is not really like a full-blown review. This is just kind of how I've used it. Now on the other side here, of course, you've got the output. Now a quick note about this looper, and this is just looping in general, just kind of a tip here. Most of you may know this if you loop already. This will be kind of like secondhand nature to you. But you'll want to place this looper at the end of your chain here. In other words, you've got your guitar, that's going to go into your effects or whatever pedals you're using, then go to your looper, and of course I've got the looper in my case going to the soundboard. What that allows you to do is to record whatever sound you're recording that you want to record with the looper, but then if you want to play over that, when you start playing over that, if you want to play over that with a different sound or different effect or whatever, you can change that, okay? So if you had this looper, if you had it, in other words, guitar, then looper, then effects, if you were to change the sounds, like add delay or add distortion or whatever, well, it's also going to change the sound of what you recorded as well. So that's just a little looping tip in general. Now, how this little pedal works here is you can click this button one time. You can stomp this button rather one time. Okay, that's going to start the recording process. So you click it once, you're recording. Okay, then once you click it again, it's going to play what you just recorded. So your timing's got to be on and all that good stuff. And I know I'm kind of like going over some basic functions here. So if you're an experienced looper, you already know this, so just hang tight with me here. But I know sometimes these questions come up. I know they did when I started looping, and I'm still quite new at it. I've only been doing this for about 9 months, so I'm still learning along the way. But anyway, it's a bit of coordination there, having to press that, you start recording, then press it again when you want it to stop. And what I'll do is usually just 1 to 2 measures of that. Now, here's the thing, as that loop is playing, if you want to record something else over that, like you've got a little ambient thing you want to record, or a little lead, or whatever, even another rhythm, you can click that button again and it will start recording that second piece along with what you've already recorded. And of course, click it again and you've got both patterns there. So again, that's something you have to make sure that's kind of dead on with this looper. You got to make sure that that's pretty tight and in sync, okay? So that's one way you can use it there. And I'm not really sure if you can record a third pattern after that. I never got that far into it. Again, I'm just sharing how I use this pedal personally and just based on my experience playing live. And I'll get more into this at the end of the video, which when I talk about why I'm going to get rid of this and what I plan to do next. But hang around for that. That's going to be interesting. But anyway, so how I use it is I just record one loop. So that means I will start playing, I'll press the button, click the button, okay? then I'll click it again, and I've got my little piece of music there, and then I'll just play over that. And a lot of times I'll use a different patch or a different sound for my lead tone there, so I've got some differentiation between the rhythm and the lead there. So what I do after that to stop the loop, because I'm probably not going to use it again, so you have to either click it twice to completely stop the loop, or you can press it and hold it down, and then that will stop and erase the loop. So if you clicked it twice, that would stop the loop, and then you would have that loop, that same loop to recall. I never really do that. It's just not something I do. And again, I'll get more into why and why I do that and what I plan to do later. But anyway, that's how you would stop the loop and or stop and erase the loop. So that's the basic functionality of this little Ditto pedal here. And I may be missing some stuff, guys. You might be able to do some more stuff with this that I don't know about. And please feel free to leave that in the comments. Again, I didn't plan on this being like a full-blown review. This is how you use it. I like to share my personal experience, and I think that sometimes resonates a bit more than, well, here's everything you can do. This is how I use it, and I'm sharing the actual experience which you're about to hear. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you, and we're about to get to that. But one more thing I wanted to mention here, I wanted to share what I use this with. So I actually use this with my Pod Go unit, the Line 6 Pod Go. Now you may be saying, well, Jason, the Pod Go has a looper built into it. There's some caveats to that. It's got a great looper built into it, and it's got multiple functions, but I like to sometimes change the entire patch. Like if I record a clean tone and I want to play like a gritty lead and change the entire patch. Well, in the Pod Go, and I'm not going to go deep into this, but you've got to do quite a few more clicks on the unit to get back to that, to where you've recorded that loop, then you got to click here, click there to get to that next patch, if that makes sense. Again, I'll probably do another video on that. I've got more videos with the Pod Go coming out anyway, and I'll share more about that. But I use it for that, and that's why I use an external looper, because here's my loop, I can record it, then I can change patches on the Pod Go easier, so it's just a little bit less for me to do on stage, if that makes sense. With all that said, I just want to share maybe about 2 minutes of clips of me playing live. Everything you're about to hear is me playing with this Ditto Looper here by TC Electronics. So enjoy this, and again, hang around after that, because I'm going to tell you why I'm getting rid of this thing. Alright, so why am I getting rid of the Ditto Looper, the TC Electronics Ditto Looper? Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with the functionality of this looper. It actually works perfectly. It does everything that it's advertised to do. It does it quite well. And if I were forced just to play with this looper for the rest of my life, I could make it work. But here's the thing, it has more to do with my coordination on stage. Like I mentioned before, to stop the loop. A lot of times I'm playing, right? I'll jam a little rhythm there, then I'll want to play some lead over it, and then I'll want to stop that loop so I can go right back into a song. Well, to do that, I've got to click and hold it down, okay, to erase that loop. Well, the time it takes me to click and hold it down, I start thinking, I'm like, oh crap, okay, how long do I need to hold it down for? Then I screw up in my playing. It's really happened on stage, because there was one time where I didn't hold it down long enough, and when I released, well, the loop kept playing, and I'm sitting there playing a different rhythm. I'm like, okay, something's not right. So then I start clicking it twice, trying to stop it, then I click, hold down, and just, oh man, it was just kind of a disaster. Fortunately, nobody really knew what was going on. Sometimes when we make mistakes on stage, the only people that they're really going to notice are the other musicians. They're like, okay, yeah, he just screwed up. Everybody else is drinking and having a good time. They don't really care. But anyway, that's one thing. And of course, now I could double tap it to stop the loop. But again, chances are I'm not going to use that loop again. I mean, I might or whatever, but you know, I kind of want to erase that loop, because then if I want to go back and stop it later, well, I've got to click and hold it down, which is going to trigger that loop to start playing. So I'm going to have like a second or two where it starts playing. So it's like, okay, here's the thing with me. I want to get to a point, if you notice in the videos just now, I'm just jamming, right? And this is something I do to kind of break up my sets, to give my voice a break. Most of the time that I'm up there on stage doing these solo gigs, I'm singing and playing at the same time. I'm singing 80s cover songs, some 70s, and some of my originals, but I'm up there singing the majority of the time. So about every maybe 8th or 10th song, I'll just do a little instrumental, and the crowd loves it, you know, and then I'll pull it back and go back to singing, and it's just enough to give the crowd something a little different. They're like, okay, that was cool, that was something different, we don't hear that all the time. And then of course go back to the singing part. What I would like to do though, I would like to integrate the looping with my singing. In other words, what I would like to do is, let's say I'm singing a chorus of a song. Well, I'd like to click to start recording the music for the chorus, right? And as soon as I'm done singing that chorus, click again, and then I've got my setup to play some lead along with it. Now, here's the caveat. Then I would like to be able to quickly get rid of the loop so that I can go right back into playing and singing. And in order to do that, I need, and again, this is just me, this is my my incapability to, you know, be coordinated enough to do all this that quickly, right? I just want a dedicated stop. Stop the loop, it's done, it's gone. I can go right back into it, as opposed to having to hold this down or click twice. That kind of messes up my pattern there, and then having to go back into playing and singing. You know, that can be a challenge on its own, right? So that might sound a little petty, but when you're up there on stage and you're doing all these things, and again, you're singing as well, and you want the process to go smoothly, well, that's kind of been a challenge for me. So what I plan to do, TC Electronics, there's a couple options here. They have an X2. I'll put a picture up here on screen. I think this is from Sweetwater here, the image, but they have an X2 looper. They have X2 and X4. They have an X2 here, which you can see there are two buttons there, similar to the Ditto button, but there is a dedicated stop. I can have that set, that second button set, as a dedicated stop. That would suit my needs perfectly. There's also the X4. Now, this gets a little bit more complex in regards to what you can do with the looping. You've got two loopers here, then you've got something else, and then you've got that dedicated stop. That dedicated stop is very, very important to me. I need that because that's just one click, stops, then I can go right back into my singing and playing very smoothly, as opposed to having to like, oh, I gotta hold this down and make sure it's held down long enough to kill the loop, or I've got to press it twice, which again, that's kind of a coordination folly with me. It just doesn't work too well. But anyway, so that's what I'm looking for. Now, I've also thought about the Boss RC600. This is a new unit that just came out. I think there's a Boss RC 500 or 505, something like that. This is a newer version, a floor version of it. Now, this allows much more complex looping. I don't know that I will ever get that far into looping. I really just want to be able to play a rhythm, play a lead over that, and then kill the loop to go back into the song. Now, I'll still do the instrumental stuff, which makes things a little bit easier because I can kind of start playing the rhythm and I can hold down the looper pedal or click it twice, and I'm back, you know, where I started there. So that's a little bit easier. But again, when I'm singing and playing and I want to play a solo and I want to smoothly go back into singing and playing again, that's where I need that dedicated stop. So I'm looking at the X2 or the X4. Again, the X4 gives me a little bit more options there with that extra loop. Like, what if I want to set up a mic and I want to do a shaker to have some sort of percussion behind me? What if I want to do that, or have my wife do that? You know, that's something that would be kind of cool to integrate into my live solo gigs. I'm kind of scared to do that because, man, when you're up there by yourself, my wife sings with me on probably about 3, sometimes 4 songs at the end of each set. So that gives my live gigs another dynamic, you know, along with me doing the instrumentals, which I'll always throw some of that in there. But, you know, again, my whole thing is not to be boring, not to, because sometimes you go hear somebody play live, and if it's just that person and the guitar, it's like, okay, it's nice, it's great, nothing wrong with that, but it can get a bit mundane after a while, you know. So it's like, I like to have these other elements to give my audience, and just to kind of spice things up. Kind of like this video. This is very different from my normal metal guitar videos. I wanted to share some more stuff with you. So hopefully this kind of gives you that other side too. And it's like, okay, it's just this different content today. Yeah, I enjoy it, Jason. Or no, Jason, I don't care about this content. Which if you've watched this far into the video, hopefully you like it. But anyway, guys, that's kind of like my demonstration and my own personal experience with the Ditto Looper by TC Electronics. Again, it's a great pedal, but I want that dedicated stop button, so I'm probably going to be ordering that this week. And of course, when I get that, I'll be sharing more live gigs with you and how to use that pedal as well when that time comes. Actually, I'm filming this in December 2021, like we're in the beginning of December, and I've already got like 3 gigs the week, like that week of Christmas. I'm actually playing a gig on Christmas Eve, which I'm really excited about. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content. Please give this video a like. Please make sure you're subscribed, and please share this video. If this video helped you or you found it interesting, please feel free to share this with other folks as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. Guys, thank you for all the support. Until the next video, keep it metal. We didn't really play any metal today, but hey, keep it metal, and remember your ABCs. Always be cool.